Thank you. Thank you again for joining us. Welcome to Third Fridays, our August 3rd Fridays. We did not meet last month. You may recall we were just coming off of our annual conference at the end of June in Atlanta, Georgia, hosted by the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta Airport. Just as a quick note, we had a very good conference. For the organization in terms of meeting our financial goals, providing quality content, and great engagement among the attendees. So we actually had about 550 registrants for our annual conference. We had our packed town hall event. So we had a really great conference. And I just want to thank our conference chair, Karen Ellis, for leading us through the conference, our former conference chair, as well, and everything that she did leading us, our local conference chair, Myrna White, with the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta Airport, and of course, our corporate development and programs director, Shamina Roundtree. Initial planning is underway for June 2022 in Chicago, Illinois, where the Chicago Department of Aviation will be hosting our conference. And we're really excited about this conference that we are having in June. Earlier last month, as I stated, we did take the time off for last month, but we were still very active at AMAC, and that we actually have been active in our government affairs around the support of the Biden infrastructure plan, as well as other areas that we will discuss on today's call. We'll also talk about AMAC Builds, and we've invited our chairs to speak about that program. We'll hear from our chairs later on. But before we do that, and before I call our AMAC board chair to provide some remarks, just want to say congratulations to AMAC member and our AMAC Foundation board chair, Don Hunter, Director of Aviation and Commercial Management at Port of Seattle, who was recently named at Airport Experience News Conference this past week as the Property Manager of the Year. So again, congratulations to Don Hunter for that distinguished, that acknowledgement at the Airport Experience News Conference. Also, another member won as the as the Concessions of the Year, and that was Michael Baldwin, Assistant Vice President at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, who also won and was recognized at the Airport Experience News Conference. So thank you, or congratulations to those AMAC members who are being recognized across the industry. And then also finally, just want to recognize our former AMAC president and CEO from a few years ago, but still current member, Ms. Shelby Scales, who was recently appointed this past year as a this past week as a director of the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, or other OSDBU, at Department of Transportation. So we just want to say congratulations to Shelby for that appointment. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Ricky Smith to provide some remarks.
Thank you, Anthony, and good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I want to piggyback on Anthony's commendations to those that worked very hard to pull off the Atlanta conference. It was a huge success. We faced enormous challenges. Many of the challenges were not apparent to the eye, but I want to commend the leadership that started out with Shanetta Griffin, and then Karen Ellis came in and picked up the beat without missing a beat at all. And you know, the two that really holds all this stuff together and cannot get enough credit is Anthony and Shamina in the national office. And then there's this secret weapon they have out there in the background, Shahara, who continues to support us on a contractual basis. I also want to thank Heather for her service for several years as the foundation board chair, and she's done an admirable job leading that organization from inception to where it is now. And then Don Hunter, who has agreed to become the new chair of the foundation board. We're looking forward to working with her. Don and I have already had several conversations, and the two of us are truly committed to collaborating. There's so many opportunities for AMAC Trade and AMAC Foundation Board to work together and maximize not just our ability to bring in resources for those members and other constituents in our industry that we want to support, but to also build the two organizations and make them stronger as units of the AMAC family. And so I want to congratulate Don Hunter for taking that leadership role. You all know Nancy West. Nancy does an amazing job leading the Political Action Committee. They too had a successful event at the annual conference, and I can't commend Nancy enough for her leadership at the PAC and just her general leadership at AMAC. She continues to mentor me and so many other people on the many issues that we face moving AMAC forward. And so Anthony did mention the time off, which is true. We formally took a month off, but there were some committees that continue to work through this time off, if you will. And I know Anthony and Shemana were still busily taking care of AMAC matters even during the time when we were off. With respect to the board, we spent this time off focusing on a couple priorities that I'll touch on. One is we are close to announcing a new president and CEO. I was able to get some final approvals from the board on that person, which will be announced in a couple weeks or so. And so that's a major move forward for AMAC as an organization, and especially for Anthony and Shemana, who can use all the support that they can get in the national office. And so I first want to thank the board for its continued tolerance and patience and resolute in terms of making some of the tough decisions that we had to make to keep this candidate on board and to finally make a decision to bring the candidate on. And so that's progress that we've made. We've also spent time focusing on the committees. The committees have done outstanding work over the last several months. And when I talk about the committees, I'm largely talking about you, because many of you as members are really what powers these committees to do the great work that the committees have done over the last several months. But we're moving to a point now where people are beginning to go back to work. People are, in some cases, are having to go back into the office. And so a lot of the time that our members had to dedicate to AMAC over the last several months, that time isn't necessarily there now. And so we're taking steps to kind of refresh the committees. We're trying to bolster the leadership of the committees to give it new energy, more capacity to move forward the very aggressive agendas that each one of the committees have, because we push very hard. We're acting like we're running out of time. And so the committees are very busy. They're taking on an enormous load. And so we just want to make sure that we have the kind of talent in the organization dedicated to these committees so that we can execute on behalf of our membership. And so, so you'll see in the next week or so the announcement of our refreshed committees. Most of the committees, if not all of the committees, will have additional leaders on its leadership team. So we're looking forward to having those new members of the committee leadership join in that capacity. I will still encourage each and every one of you, if you are not on a committee, to please join a committee and to be active on that committee, because again, our national office is, although it's powerful in terms of its spirit, it still lacks capacity in terms of just the number of hours they can work. And so we really rely on the membership to step up and carry some of that load. So if you're not on a committee, please join a committee because we could use your talent. Anthony talked about a number of members that have served as evidence as to how talented AMAC's family really is. And so We know we have a deep bench out there, and I want to thank and commend those AMAC members that are continuing to accomplish at a very high level. Seems like every month we're thanking or commending someone in the AMAC family for doing something major in the industry. So with that being said, Anthony, I think I will drop the mic and turn it back over to you. But I just want to thank everyone for being on the call. Thank you for your continued support for AMAC. And we're looking forward to a powerful, powerful next 12 months that will culminate with our annual conference. We expect to be our annual in-person conference in Chicago. And I want to thank Jamie Reed and Tammy Washington for the work that they've already begun to do to make sure that that conference is as successful as it can be in collaboration with our conference planning committee under Karen Ellis's leadership. So again, thank you very much. And Anthony, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Ricky. And as Ricky had mentioned, we've been very busy over this last year and a half, really. And just want to thank Ricky for his leadership and leading us through all of these initiatives, our first virtual conference, and everything else that we're doing here at the organization. So thank you. At this time, I do want to open it up to any committee chairs that want to provide any updates, if we have any chairs that want to provide any updates. And then if not, we will go right on in. We're excited about today's presentation. During the annual conference, Ricky had announced our AMAC Builds Careers that our Aviation Professional Development Committee has been working on. And so we've invited our chairs of that subgroup to speak to us today to let us know a little bit more about how we can be involved with this important initiative. So we have today joining us Ms. Kiva Rodriguez, who is the Deputy Chief of Planning and Engineering at the BWI Marshall Airport. And we also have joining us today Jamie Harmon, who is the Director of Capital Finance at Unison Consulting. So thank you again for joining us, and I'll turn the program over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that great introduction. So if we could bring up the slides. Great, thank you. So while Charmaina's sharing the slides, I just wanted to thank you all for your time today, and hopefully you will be able to learn more about what we have accomplished in our Professional Development Committee. We've been hard at work putting together several different programs that we'll go over today. So starting with the first slide, we'll go through that. And, I just wanted to, let you all know that this is something that is very near and dear to my heart, growing individuals and helping them to, see their full potential, and also helping them to see that they can be greater than what they could ever imagine. I was very fortunate to have many people in my life who did that for me. So I'm more than excited to inspire others. So once we get the slides going, we'll roll right through.
While Kiva is waiting on the slide to come up, I don't waste an opportunity to embarrass people. Speaking of professional development, just 3 weeks or so ago, about a month ago, Kiva achieved her professional engineer license level, which is a major accomplishment for anybody who's in that field. You know how difficult it is to accomplish that, and it's just a testament to Kiva's her resolute and her commitment to excellence, both personal, and she represents BWI Marshall, and so that's a sign of what we expect our professionals at BWI Marshall to pursue as well. And so I just want to commend her publicly for being such an amazing professional. Certainly a bright star, not a rising star. She's already a star in the BWI Marshall family. We're just so excited about the future that she brings with us. And so Kiva, congratulations again publicly.
Thank you so much, Ricky. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone. So I'll go ahead and jump right in so that we could use the balance of the time efficiently. So as you can see in front of you, we have a graphic that kind of outlines this vision of helping the membership to grow, starting from, our well-established scholarship program and now adding a layer to that to implement an internship program, which I'll talk about. And then once, we have this growing individual, this growing professional entering the workforce after college, offering a mentorship. And from there, once that person would like to expand their horizons into executive leadership, offering a fellowship program. So we'll walk through each of these today and highlight some of the key elements that will help you to see if you can get involved or spread the word. Next slide, please. So our goal here for the internship program is to connect high school students with these well-established professionals as well as college students. And so, the mission of this AMAC internship program is to provide access to aviation and learning opportunities. And we achieve this mission through offering the opportunity to grow personally and professionally, as I mentioned before. And after determining the interns' areas of interest, interns will engage in a rotation focused on exposing them to the different jobs across the aviation industry that are related to their interests. Next slide, please. And as mentioned before, this rotation will last somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the program, where we have 6 weeks for some high school students and 8 weeks for college students. And within this 6 to 8 week program, it will include a series of 2-week rotations intended to introduce the students to different roles and responsibilities in the aviation industry. So students will be selected based on their response to the posted essay questions, which we'll go over a little bit more, and the review of the supplementary application. And using a scoring matrix, the review panel will select a maximum of about 10 candidates. And those selected students will receive compensation for their work, as well as developing critical thinking, time management, leadership skills, all of those skills that give you a great foundation to enter the workforce. So we're also hoping that they may even learn some valuable lessons in accountability and integrity as well. And so here we have in front of you ways to participate. So, we will serve as the facilitator. AMAC will serve as the facilitator of the internship program. And corporations and hiring organizations will serve as the hosts, where the host will hire the interns directly as employees while compensating those interns from, from either a sponsorship or an underwriter arrangement. So a sponsor or underwriter can be an individual or a company that can provide some sort of financial support to the program, but they may not necessarily serve as a host. So the intern is, of course, a student participant directly employed by the AMAC member company or corporation. Next slide, please. Eligibility. So as I mentioned before, we're looking for, our students to be enrolled either in high school or college. And for those high school applicants, they must be of 18 years or older. So of course, we may have some who, may have later birthdays and things of that nature. So they may be older high school students, but essentially we're looking for maybe that senior level of high school. College, obviously that range is opened up a bit more as long as we meet that 18 years or older threshold. And we're also looking for high school students for them to have a 3.0 GPA on a scale of 4.0. And for college internship candidates, we're looking for a GPA of about 3.2 or higher. Next slide, please. So the application requirements, we have an application that will be available to all applicants, as well as a written essay. So we're looking for students to pick one of the questions that we've provided and to provide a written statement of about 750 words or less of why, essentially covering areas of why they would like to be a part of this program, or just some of the barriers that they may have faced in their lives, and how they think that they can obviously achieve their goals in the face of that, and how they've also overcome the different questions. And so the candidates can review each one and see which one is most applicable, as well as which one provides the best overview of who they are as an applicant. We're also looking for letters of recommendation from one of the following. We know that, depending on when the applicant applies, it could be a little harder to get participation for these letters of recommendation from a teacher or a school counselor. So we've expanded that to include letters of recommendation from a current employer. As we know, some students work part-time or work between semesters, or even someone who has overseen their efforts as a volunteer. So if there's a volunteer services coordinator that they can rely on for that recommendation, that is also an option as well. Next slide, please. So some of the expected outcomes, of course, if you sign up for something, you want to know, how will I feel like this has some sort of finality. So we're allowing our students to participate in a presentation. But not only that, throughout their time, we're also asking them to document some of their lessons learned. So students will be required to prepare a written abstract and a presentation on a subject of interest to them through their engagement in the various areas of aviation. Maybe one particular area stood out to them. Maybe they went in and said, I think I want to work in HR, but after sitting, in a capital planning, environment for 2 weeks, learning this is actually what I want to do. Maybe we can highlight some of those, enlightening moments for them and give them the opportunity to talk about that. So during the last week of the program, students will give a presentation to the other interns, AMAC Internship working group members, and mentors. And I think now we will, we'll have questions at the end, and I'm sure you all may have some, but I think we wanted to keep the briefing rolling. So I'll go ahead and I'll hand it off to Jamie where he can talk more about the mentorship program. Jamie, are you with us or are you on
Hi,
mute?
Jamie, you're on mute.
Sorry. Congrats again, Kivo, on all the accomplishments. You're doing a great job. And hello, everybody. My name is Jamie Harmon. So getting right into it, the mentorship program, the title of our program is Inspiring Professionals to Dream More, Learn More, and Become More. You can go to the next slide. So the objective of this program is to provide guidance while developing mutually beneficial relationships between young professionals and experienced leaders within the aviation industry. One thing that we want to do is make sure that this is not just something that's going to be beneficial to the mentee and the mentor, but also be beneficial to the aviation industry by providing us a tool, a vehicle for the mentors to lead the next generation of leaders within the aviation industry. We're hoping that we can get some seasoned individuals, and you can go to the next slide. So our ways to participate are as a mentor, mentee, and a sponsor. And one thing that as a mentor, you can go to the next slide. We're looking for seasoned individuals. And when we say seasoned individuals, we're looking for somebody with at least 3 to 5 years experience in a management role. We're hoping that you have some quality experience that you can give off to the next generation and identify opportunities to the next generation to take the aviation industry forward. We believe that anybody that wants to be a part of this program, you must be a member of AMAC, and we want to make sure that you stay accessible and committed to the program. This is a 12-month program. We're looking to start in October, and it'll run through November of 2022. But we want to make sure, we plan to have you guys meet if you want to be a mentor or a mentee or a sponsor. We plan to have the mentor and the mentee meet at least once a month. We're hoping that you guys would meet more times than just once a month, but at least once a month. And we want you to have, again, mutually beneficial relationships and be open with each other, not just sticking to the plan or the rubric, but be open. And one thing that we plan to do so that way communication can be open, we have a confidentiality agreement So that way, if you feel like you're sharing something that's a little bit personal, you can be yourself without having to worry about it leaving the room. You can go to the next slide. I think that's it for us. We're not as, I'm sorry, but we're not as detailed a little bit. And that's because we want this relationship to be a one-to-one relationship and for it to grow. And this is something that I believe will be great for the aviation industry and our next generation of leaders. And then from the mentorship program, if you're looking to go to the next level of the executive fellowship, this is where that transition will happen, and Kiva, you can take over again.
Great, thank you, Jamie. All right, so, as Jamie mentioned, we're looking for, folks to start thinking about their future, thinking about that senior level management, C-suite, executive level, aspect of their career path. And so now we offer the AMAC Airport Executive Fellowship Program. This program is an 8 to 12-week program, and it includes pairing a mid-level professional with an executive level professional through the AMAC Airport Leadership Collaborative, or the ALC. So the selection and participation will occur on a rolling basis and in accordance with ALC membership availability. You'll see in the guide, I believe we're going to post that later. Charmaine will go over that, where we'll be able to, tell you exactly when those application periods, those review periods will take place as we collaborate with the ALC. Now, we offer the opportunity to build and refine skills in areas such as organizational dynamics and leadership, negotiating skills, resource management, managing up, all types of areas that executive leaders need to balance every single day. So that gives you a sounding board with someone who is extremely seasoned and experts in their field and able to impart on you that wisdom, and not only that, the tangible skills that are required in order to move on to that next level. Next slide, please. So the collaborative challenges organizations to diversify their leadership roles. And in this collective, there is a wealth of experience from minority and women executives and members of the ALC. And the collaborative also wants to serve as executive mentors to fellows who are on the cusp, such as deputies or managers, who are interested in running airports at the end of the day. They may be interested in not necessarily being that CEO, but maybe COO, maybe marketing officers, So these are the levels that we're thinking of in terms of your future. The ALC is partnering with this committee to start moving in this direction. So AMAC will serve as the facilitator as before, and we've set up the fellowship program with the ALC's input. So this isn't done in a vacuum or a silo. This is something that we collaborated and built from the bottom. And AMAC will facilitate, like I said, the marketing, selection process, answering your questions, and will also give this particular program a home. That's our intent, is to take this and make it our own and continue to help with this part of our industry. So their goal is to help us to, identify these folks who perhaps could matriculate into this leadership role. Meanwhile, our fellows will be selected through a rigorous selection process, and selection committees will be made up of both ALC members and professional development committee members. Next slide, please. So our eligibility criteria, we're looking for, candidates to have 5 years or more of professional experience in the aviation industry. And we're also looking for them to have membership in AMAC, as well as some sort of involvement in other transportation organizations. This could be COMTO, WTS, AAAE, any other organization that is focused around the needs of transportation, as well as a committee level involvement in AMAC. So as Ricky mentioned earlier, we're looking for people to not only, join a committee, but also have some sort of active involvement as well. So we will look for people who have, this collection of experience. Next slide, please. So for the application requirements, we're looking for a personal statement, and we have questions here that should be covered in that personal statement. Why are you pursuing this fellowship program? What is your current role in some of your accomplishments? So, we're looking for the applicant to explain or to justify why they should be selected, because this is a top tier program, and we are, looking to be very selective as we, look to build onto the leadership that we have represented already. We're looking to continue that pipeline of leaders, into the future. So we are looking for, not only a professional, but a professional who has gone above and beyond to try to meet the needs of this industry. We're also looking for a resume. That's where we could see that, you have that involvement in these other transportation organizations, that you have that committee level involvement in AMAC, and also 2 recommendation letters. So we're looking for one from your direct senior manager or direct report. That will serve as sort of an MOU between us and your direct leadership to let them know, and that you are participating in this program. And not only that they do recommend you for this program, as well as a letter from someone within your organization that highlights your experience, that can speak to some of the accomplishments that you have presented in the personal statement. Next slide, please. And so we're also looking for, again, module completion, just giving you something to feel like, I've completed this. I feel prepared. And so at this module completion, the fellows may be evaluated and given the opportunity to give a presentation at the annual conference on what you've learned and any thoughtful input that you can serve up to the membership, being that you are a future thought leader in aviation. We're looking for you to provide compelling insight into what has been learned through the program, as well as any thoughtful input you might be able to impart on others to start that dialogue and continue that conversation. Next slide, please. So in closing, I again just want to thank you all for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all grow as leaders, as well as seeing your participation in this program. We're looking for mentors, we're looking for sponsors and hosts, and not just candidates. We're looking for that support system. So hopefully we've given you a better view of the intent of these programs and how we are looking to definitely build careers. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Jamie, and thank you, Kiva, for the presentation. I just want to open it up. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to go ahead and unmute your mic and ask your question. But just want to thank you for this presentation. These programs are so important because they speak to the mission of our organization. We're about promoting diversity, not just on the contracting side, but also on the employment side. And so we want to make a huge impact in this industry, and we believe that these programs will really help us to do that. Please visit the website for more information. We do have about this program, or you can send us an email at amacbuilds@amac-org.com. We also want to, and you can also, when you're on the website, please go ahead and register and sign up for that, and register also for our AMAC Legends and Leapers program we have at the end of this month on the last Wednesday. We have Dan Halpern, President and CEO of Jackmont Hospitality, as well as Bridget Villegas, who is the Vice President, Partner Relations at Business Diversity at Hudson, who will be joining us on our call. So please register for that. We look forward to seeing you there. Before we close out, just want to see
Anthony, this is Ricky. Before we get to questions, I just want to illuminate on. First of all, I want to commend Kiva and Jamie on the presentation. I mean, they've really taken what was a concept and bringing it to life, and so I want to thank them for that. I do want to illuminate one aspect of the presentation. When we talk about airports, this program is centered around airport. We're talking about the airport community. This program is designed to to apply to professionals in our concessions program, for example. If you are in retail or food management, this program applies to you as well. If you're in, a planning and engineering firm, if you're an environmental consulting firm, these programs apply to you as well. So it's not just for professionals who are working for airports, airport management organizations. It applies to any company that's in the aviation space. And they made that point, but I just wanted to illuminate because so much of our organization consists of concessions entrepreneurs and concessions professionals, as well as A&E professionals. We want to make sure that they understand that this program applies to them. As a matter of fact, we expect a lot of the opportunities that are given out through this program to come through our partners in our concessions program and our partners in our A&E community.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Do we have any other announcements or any other from anyone on the call? All right. Okay, again, any questions about participating or about being a sponsor, please reach out to us at AMAC. We dropped that email address in the chat. Thank you again for joining us. We look forward to seeing you at Legends and Leapers at the end of this month, and then again on next month as well. Thank you. Have a great Friday.